CT Steckel hanging out with, of course, the newest addition here in the studio on the Friday night team, Ashley Pickle. Yo, I'm fired up. I'm excited about this. Great to have you alongside. You
Thanks,
ready to
man.
do it?
Oh, man, I am pumped up. Football time in Texas, that's enough to get you pumped up. Being in here with you guys, amped up.
What's so cool to me is that we get a chance for the next 2 hours to break down as these games finish all the great plays, all the great action. That's how they're going to play tough, physical football.
It really is. And Greg Jacobs is a guy that's obviously going to make adjustments like that at the half. And he's going to come out and say, guys, what are we doing? Play our ball, play our style of ball. And it's ironic because it's like looking in a mirror. They play the same style of ball, but it's hard hitting. It's physical, like Abby said, in the trenches. And that's where this game is really going to be won. It's going to be the big guys up front and who really can limit the explosive plays, because in a game like this, those explosive plays, just one really can make the difference here.
What do you think the difference will be here for Malakoff in the final 24 minutes if they're to come back and try to get over the hump here against Grandview?
Well, I think that you hit the nail on the head. Obviously, we've seen Tennyson. We've seen the impact that he's made for this Malakoff squad tonight, and that's exactly what they needed to do. You look at this team, they lost a lot of skill players. They had a quarterback that they lost. They had to bring him in, but where they had experience was the offensive line, and that opens up those holes. You've seen it tonight, just some big physical players. When you get down to this 3A level, that's exactly what you need to open up the holes. Obviously, Tennyson has made his way and has completely moved the ball that way, but what it comes down to is the defensive line, and I think that that's where Malakoff is going to have to step up with this. Grandview has the playmakers. You have English. Those defensive backs are going to have to step it up because he is the guy out there on the field right now for the Zebras. So those defensive backs going to have to try and do all that they can, but really I think it gets down to the defensive line having to put pressure on that Malakoff quarterback to be able to really make a difference in the second half.
Yeah, I agree with you. In the third and fourth quarter, you win games on Friday night at the point of attack. You take over a talented team, though, Ashley, and you are expected to win, right?
You absolutely are, and those are all communities that have really become so accustomed to winning football games, having not just a winning football team, but a winning football program. And that's what you always say is, hey, following a coach that maybe wasn't doing so well beforehand, well, the expectation, the bar is set a little bit lower. When you're coming in and you're talking about Tony Salazar taking over for legendary coach Todd Dodge at Austin Westlake, I mean, the bar is all the way at the ceiling, if not past the ceiling. So it's one of those things. It adds a lot of pressure. But on the other side of that, what are they inheriting? Well, it's good football programs that have a culture instilled in them, and ones that a lot of these guys, a lot of these new coaches, whether it's Tony Pryor at College Station, whether it's Tony Salazar, whether it's Reed Heim, all guys that have been promoted up to that head coaching job. So they know the program, they know the culture, and honestly, that's probably the toughest part of becoming a new head coach.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Everybody wants the chance to be a head coach. What have you made of the Cavaliers' second half run here?
It's exactly what Hank Carter wants from his squad. You go back to last week when they played Arlington Martin, a very, very uncharacteristic loss. I mean, allowing the biggest concern we had coming into this game was that Lake Travis defense. You allow 300 yards on the ground against Martin, a team that usually puts you at 21 points and then it's a chokehold the rest of the way. And then you come in tonight against a Steel team, which one I think went under the radar and people need to start paying attention to. Obviously, they look kind of like a veteran Steel team did, but for Lake Travis, it's one of those things where Hank Carter says, look, guys, we are an established program. This is what we do. We have a winning culture. What you need to do is get back in this game. Don't let the optics of this quarterback craziness get in the way. Go out there. Defense, you have to start playing better. And right now, it looks like that's been the change, because with an inexperienced quarterback, you need that defense to be the foundation of this Lake Travis team. And maybe he finally got through to him at halftime?
I think so. History and tradition speak. They look to me right now to be one of the most balanced teams offensively and defensively in all of 6A football.
They absolutely are. And we talked earlier about Coach Heim taking over this program, and he was given the #1 quarterback in the class of 2023, according to Dave Campbell's Texas Football. He was giving the Bowen brothers. I mean, there's FBS prospects all over the field for this Geyer team, but what they do is they operate like a well-oiled machine. And it's wild because, yes, take a step back here for a second and realize that Aledo is a 5A Division I team. We're talking about a 5A Division I taking on a 6A. There is a big classification gap here, but to do it in this fashion, to win in this way, to really just shut them down completely, that is exceptional by this Geyer team. And you take a look at the scope, they're basically set to go into 6A Division II. When you look at the playoff grand scheme, I'm not seeing anyone right now in Region 1. And I know it's only week 2. We're not trying to overreact here, but it would be dumbfounded right now to find a team that could be that competitive with Geyer.
Yeah, Rodney Webb is out. Reedheim is in.
Let's flash back now to 2018. Shadow Creek, Highland Park. Randy Allen, Highland Park Scots going for the three-peat, but the Sharks would not swim away quietly. This is quarterback Jamarian George, backed up to his own one, but he will go 99 yards. Chandler Morris now for Highland Park, looking deep. It's Finn Corrin, who will had a huge game. The senior hauls it in. The Scots go back to back to back. 27-17 with a win over Shadow Creek. And man, you want to talk about the man in charge that has led them to this dynasty that is Highland Park, and it's Randy Allen.
He is a legend. There's no way around it.
That list is just exceptional. I mean, from Phil Danaher to G.A. Moore to Gordon Wood, you can't ask for a more just decadent list of Texas high school football coaches. And you think about, if you're a Texas high school football historian, the things and the ways that those coaches impacted those kids. I was actually there for Coach Allen's 400th win. It was a crazy overtime game at 42-35 over Lancaster. And I was standing there and I got to talk to Mrs. Allen. And I said, "This is awesome, man." And she had tears in her eyes, and she was talking about this is everything for him. He wants to make an impact not only in the career wins, but in the lives of those kids, and he's done just that. He is Highland Park Scots football. I mean, 4 different state championships, obviously the three-peat in 16, 17, 18. We saw the flashback there when they beat Shadow Creek. Randy Allen is what Highland Park Scots is. When you think of Highland Park Scots, what do you think of? You think of the fedora and what he brings. So an unbelievable testament, and what an honor for Coach Allen to be making that list with those true icons in the Texas high school football world.
Yeah, Randy Allen now meeting the media after their big win tonight as he moves into second all-time on the list. Actually, he's out for another title this year.
Dude just literally tied G.A. Moore as the second winningest coach of all time in Texas high school football history. And who's he talking about? His long snapper, the guy, the holder. I mean, that is what he is. He's straight-laced, and it really shows why this Highland Park Scots team throughout every single year has calm demeanor. They have poise, and it's that right there. Big moments. Doesn't matter. Focus on the fundamentals. And that was the most Randy Allen interview that I ever could have imagined after that.
It's never about him. It's always about the team, the attention, the detail.
This, to me, is a statement win for them across the entire 2A Division I landscape.
It really is, and they said that. They said, hey, we have a ship in mind. That's what they're going for here. And when we talked to Centerville head coach Kyle Hardy earlier this week, what he told us is, I don't think people realize how fast Crawford is. And like you said, they were able to put the ball in the air, which is something that we typically don't see from this really run-heavy offense that the Pirates run. But tonight they showed that they're multi-dimensional, that they're able to hit you in multiple ways, and that makes a statement moving on into the rest of the season.
Yeah, team speed kills.
But it's an important step in the healing process for this community.
Right, and nothing will ever fill that hole in their hearts. You know, nothing will ever make that situation better, but every little thing continues to help. And that's what Texas high school football does. You can feel it when you're down there in the sidelines, when you're sitting in the stands, the joy that it brings not only to the football players, but the bands, the cheerleaders, the administration, the community as a whole. And to see them go out there and get a win like this, to keep their head held high, to raise the Uvalde flag and put one on for their community, I mean, it's touching. I've got goosebumps. And I think that everyone watching this Uvalde team play feels the exact same way, Tub.
Yeah, and sadly, you know, this isn't the first time we've seen this. That's a remarkable coaching job by Wade Miller and his staff.
It absolutely is, and you want to go even further than that. This is a really young team, guys. I mean, this is a team that is not bringing back many people at all. Really, Justin Reardon, their linebacker, is the core senior leadership of this team. So to not only have to face everything that they've done, but to go out there as a young team and make this impact, beating a team a classification higher than them, that's a true, like you said, statement win in so many different aspects tonight for those Coyotes.
Talk about the job that Wade Miller has done.
And Coach, I mean, realistically, your team has been so consistent over the past 2 seasons. What has really led to building that foundation to where you're just a machine week in and week out?
Yeah, we've been here 6 years, our 6th season now. We just really enjoy it. And the kids in the community do such a good job. Football is important to them. And they know football is a much bigger thing than just a ball. It's about life and learning life experiences. And the kids have done a tremendous job of buying into that with our staff and taking hold of that in the community, buying into the kids. And so it truly is a community event every time we have a football game where kids come to practice. And so we're really pleased. Obviously, you've got to have talent to win. And we've got a lot of talent right now that's just doing a good job growing up. And it's a bunch of young kids. Freshman running backs just been doing a tremendous job, and a lot of other kids who are young are really stepping up right now.
The coach's kid is going to be a truth teller.
They're honest. I mean, you can't get better honesty than that.
Can I just tell you, be honest for a second?
Yes, you can.
At Dave Campbell's Texas Football, our most valuable sources are the coaches' kids and the coaches' wives. Okay, because
he does not lie.
They will tell us. They will tell us the truth. Like if a coach is at coaching school and walking by and he's with his wife, I'll just push past the coach and go to the wife.
Hey, coach.
Hey,
see ya.
Ma'am, can you tell me how this team is going to be? Because they'll shoot you straight. They got nothing to hide.
No, that's how it is. Look, that's how I grew up. You just tell the truth, you keep marching, and you just keep hoping you pile up wins so you don't have to pack up your house and move again. That's the truth. That's how it works.
And here we go. Let's head out to 3A. Grandview Zebras taking off those Malakoff Tigers. Here we go. Senior Kason English hauling that one in. He had all 3 scores in the first half. The Zebras were up 19-10. Third quarter now. Tigers start to come back, but it is Jason Timmison who scores, taking the handoff, and he's going to go all the way. Tigers now making their comeback, 19-17. Next Tigers possession. Grandview's defense comes up huge. It's a block punt resulting in a safety. And how about that? The Zebras just having Malakoff's number, taking them down at 21-17. And our own Austin Ivan there with the big man wide receiver, Kason English. And once again, for the 6th, 7th time now, Grandview has Malakoff's number. And Tep, when you take a look at this, it seems like sometimes there's just those teams where when you go up, you see the name on the jersey, you get nervous, and Grandview does. They own the Tigers.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's hard to explain because Malakoff's a really good team. He gets the ball and he makes big plays. When
you have a superstar, let the guy go out there and play football, man. We saw it. And, you want to flash back to Grandview teams that we've seen in the past. What about Dane Yinch? I mean, that's what Kason English is to this Grandview team, is what Dane Yinch was to all those times that we saw him play at Jerry World, at AT&T Stadium. And you're exactly right. When you have that, there's no need to force it. Let the kid go out there and be special. He's a special player. He's bigger than Dane Yinch is, and he's a true threat on both sides of the ball. That's stuff you can't teach.
No, gritty, hard, just that competitive desire.
Okay, you got to account for him on the ground as well whenever they run the zone read.
Right. We never thought about him as really a dual threat quarterback, but he's showing that right now, of the ability to, this kid's got wheels too. I'm not just talking about the ability to see the field. I'm talking about breakaway speed, and they're going to need that because you take a look at their schedule coming up. They've got Lancaster, they've got Prosper, and then of course you've got Allen in week 9 there for them. So the test is not done yet, but boy, howdy, are they on a roll so far.
Yep, you got to love the fact that Toledo's not afraid to play anybody.
So Steele's been close. To get over the hump feels like a really important moment for this Steele program that could really boost them going forward.
Well, and you look at what they did last season. That was their first undefeated regular season since 2015. So they're a team that's really on the come up here. When you start week 1 with an unbelievable win against Brennan with 18 seconds left, when you transition to this win over here, taking down that Austin team, which a 2-1-0 team hasn't done in so long. This team is gritty. They're tenacious. They're ready to get after it. And I think that they're now someone that anyone across the state needs to be looking at and going, hey, there's good football down in San Antonio, CT.
No doubt about it. You talk about how do you build confidence and always have an answer that has to set you up for a successful run in the season.
It absolutely does. You saw the highlights there. Snip, snap, snip, snap. We're going back and forth the whole time. And of course, none other than Seth Davis finishing right there. Water's still wet. Seth Davis is still making touchdowns. This is a kid that will carry this team on its back. And Katie made a big statement tonight because we had a couple of questions, which sounds crazy when you're looking at Gary Joseph's squad, but don't get it twisted. Craig Stumpen and Tascasita, they will be just fine. And if anything, this is going to be motivation, pushing them forward especially heading into district play.
Did you have some fun tonight?
I had a lot of fun tonight.
I think your back's probably hurt. You've been carrying me for the last 2 hours. There's no doubt about it. But it's so good to have you in the studio. So glad you're a part of this team in this fashion this year.